Being recorded.
Okay, so there is a new video out by Burb and Bougie that I just love her and I love her content. At this point, I'm even addicted. I'm addicted. I just use it as entertainment now. But she still has a lot of, because she's covering these cases as they happen on the ground, right? As they happen in real life. She covers them, which means that she has basically the raw material that are basically proof of all these things that I'm talking about. And that is just one of the many things that that's occurring in her videos for me, and why I continue to go back to her. So here is one of them that I wanted to talk about. This exchange right here.
Right here. To this man, that's what the screenshots are. She says, predators are not that dumb. They know exactly what they're doing. He purposely changed the reply settings so no one else could see him admitting to me his predatory behaviors. Never will I be a safe place for predators. So here we have a man. He says, as
before we actually get into all of that, right? I had said that all of them are predators, right? And it is not that the way they behave is what is predatorial about them. The mere design of the male is predation. Okay, they only got a male by preying on a woman. The male body should have been female, right? The male body should have been female. And the way that will have been is because a human, the X that is in his genes, when you separate that X from the Y, it produces a female, right? It only produces a female. There is no version of the X that is male. And the X is the human essence. So if the human essence only produces female, where the heck is a male coming from? Where did a male come from? It has to come from the outside. That means that his body, is actual corporeal presentation, was the hijacking of a female that is already predatorial. That means an infant male happened because it hijacked a developing female. Oh goodness, that is a new angle. Right? I hadn't even thought about that. An infant male happened because it hijacked a developing female. Yeah, and we're actually going to go over the process of what is happening in the female, right? What is happening in embryogenesis right before the male takes over. The male signaling pathway takes over, right? So the very presence of a male, the very existence of a male is the existence of a predator. Exactly like how you see a cub and you know it's a predator. Exactly like how you see a lion that's not hunting and you know it's a predator. You don't, when you see the lion, the lion pride just lying there, you don't say, well, they're not hunting, so they're not predators. Don't say that. Well, they're just, they're just playing. They're just drinking water, so they're not predators. And it's only when they're hunting that they're predators. No. They are predators because their genes designed itself to prey on others. Yeah, yeah. They are predators to those species. that their genes design itself to prey on. But specifically, they are predators to us because our species is not supposed to prey on ourselves. We are not supposed to prey on ourselves. So they are predators by having done so, because the only reason they could do so, the only possible way that could happen is that they, right? They, not one of us. They are not one of us, right? So let's go over what. So now let's go back to what this
someone who does obviously want sex. An ex-worker wouldn't cut it. Deep down is more about knowing that you can pull than it is about actual sex. So yeah, maybe it is that we need to hunt, but I don't think it's inherently a bad thing. It's only when you drop all morality just to fulfill that one purpose. Also, pointing out that while coercion is definitely a crime, is often used as a substitute for convincing someone, which if you see men arguing this is probably where the disconnect is. So
you have to understand that males do not possess any morality. Because in order for them to have morality, they cannot be also predators. You understand that, right? They cannot also be predators. And here is why. You see the lion example that I just did. The lions don't prey on each other except the males, right? The female lions, you have never ever seen that. Them do this to each other, which actually means that they are more sane than we are. They are more sane than we are. They have never done it to each other. You have to understand that the male species, the male virus affected a bunch of species. Most especially the mammals, the mammalian species, it affected the worst. Yeah. So the reason you don't see the females of the lions preying on each other is exactly because of what I'm saying. When you remove male predation from nature, you will see a completely different picture, which is that the species do not prey on each other. They do not prey on each other. Yeah.
so he is admitting that it's all about the hunt. He does not want a fair exchange. He doesn't want a woman that is just there simply for that. When you drop all morality just to fulfill that one purpose. Also, pointing out that while coercion is definitely
right. Okay. So that means that but the females do prey on other species, right? So they are predators to those species. You follow me? But they're not predators to each other. So to them, right? To them, they wouldn't think of their own lions as predators. They would just see themselves as, lions trying to exist in the world. Do you understand that? Do you understand that? And if you look at us females, that's exactly how we see it as well. You don't see, you see the women behaving similarly to the men to some extent, right? You don't turn around and say, oh yeah, those women are those women are predators, because you know because it is in your design to know that they are not, because it is in your design to know that they are not, which means that they are only behaving like this because of influence from the males. Right? Now, what I was trying to get to is that the reason the males have no morality actually is that, if you look at the females, the females in what I just told you about the females, when you remove male predation from it, right? You will see a different clarity, right? A different picture that females have morality when it comes to each other. They have morality when it comes to each other, but not necessarily when it comes to other species, right? This is universal design, okay? So now, the reason males have no morality is because they prey on everything. You understand that? They prey on everything. That's why they have no morality. And if you try to tell them, if you try to look at the things that they're called morals, right? These are the things that enable their predation. So they have morality to themselves to a certain degree. But that barrier is breached because they look human. So they internally to them, they have a barrier by which they can compartmentalize when they are their species and when they are the female species, right? When they are their species, and which means that they are predators, right? And you don't prey on other predators, right? You don't prey on your own species, but when they are also prey species, which is human, and that is when you prey on them, right? This is why you see men preying on each other. They are able to compartmentalize this. This is also why they contradict themselves all the damn time. This is why they also contradict themselves all the damn time, because they are two in one. And each of those has a different way of reasoning, and they collide. This is also why you are not supposed to have a prey predator in the same. Because now the males are preying on each other too. And that is because of the barrier that they broke. They broke the prey predator barrier, right? They broke their own barrier. That is why you frequently see them preying on themselves. That means a male is still at least 900 times likely to die from the hands of a male than a female. That means a male has 900 times a chance, 900 times the possibility of killing a male that a female does of killing a male. They have no morality because they are everybody's predator. And the only time they actually do have morality is within their own. But as you can see, that too is just nonsense because ain't nobody preyed on black males more than white males. Nobody preys on other males more than other males. Nobody preys on males more than males.
A crime is often used as a substitute for convincing someone, which, if you see men arguing this, is probably where that disconnect is. So he is admitting that it's all about the hunt. He does not want a fair exchange. He doesn't want a woman that is just there simply for that act. He wants to coerce, but he's trying to muddy the water and add some more words. He simply wants to coerce. He wants to hunt. He wants a woman that might not have actually wanted it, but that he can convince. This is the way some of these people are. She says to him, "Do not reply to me again until you remove the restrictions that prevent others from seeing your replies. I am not a safe place for you." He says, first off, I don't have to listen to your orders. I'll respond if I want. Second, it's account setting. I am not a safe place for you.
Boy, do I love that. Boy, do I love that.
He says, first off, I don't have to listen to your orders. I'll respond if I want. Second, it's account settings. It's not even personal, but of course, that female self-importance shining through. Block me then, laughing my butt off. But obviously, I'm agreeing with you. I'm just pointing out the nuances. Yes, it's manipulative tactics, but you can manipulate without it being coercion. No, you cannot. But anytime a woman gets manipulated, she calls it coercion. It may or may not be, and that's what confuses most men. No, if you're not open and honest about your intention, you are.
No. Actually, he's correct. Because there is a thing where you are manipulated for your own good, something that is actually good for you, right? But that would not qualify, that would not even reach the level of the threshold of manipulation. That's when you call, when you tell a white lie so that you don't hurt someone, right? But that means that you're doing it for their good and not for you. As soon as there is a self-interest in that, yeah, it becomes actual manipulation. Do you understand? As soon as there is self-interest in that, and to the degree that there is self-interest, it makes it what? Coercion. It makes it manipulation, right? So what he's trying to allude to that. But if you understand males, everything they do is self-interest. I want someone, if you think that it's not all self-interest, I want you to tell me something that males have ever told us that we do here that benefits males, that also benefits women. And it not being an accident or a consequence of what? A consequence of the nature of the thing. That's something that was deliberately done by males that women benefit from. I want you to write that down because I'm pretty sure you're going to say marriage. You're going to say marriage. But if you look at the design of marriage, right? The reason the men are saying they don't want marriage is now because women are benefiting from it. Because women are benefiting from it. That is why the men are saying they don't want marriage anymore. And actually, they've been saying that for far longer than we even knew. But we just didn't know what was going on. We just did not know what was going on. I remember when I was but a wee child, when they would say things like, "Oh, bachelors, you're a womanizer," like the men who are allowed to be bachelors in peace. Yeah, they were allowed to be bachelors in peace. Those men were bachelors because they didn't want to benefit women. They didn't want to benefit women. It's not just because they just want to slip around. It's also because they knew that women were gaining something from actual marriage. Ooh.
Are using coercion, you're using manipulation tactics. And I'm over these people trying to muddy the water. And that's what Alchemist Mona says. You are contradicting yourself. And what you are explaining is manipulation tactics. Have sex with people that want to have sex with you consensually. Any other way is the work of predators. She is very clear.
Well, if they did that, they would never get any sex. Because the entire shtick is based on coercion. The entire shtick is based on force. The entire shtick is based on doing something that isn't naturally there. If they did this, they would never get any sex.
Clear and concise with her response to that. They do not want to be clear and concise. This is great culture at work. They want to hunt. Like this man said at the very beginning, they want to hunt for it. They do not want women that are open and honest about wanting it too. And then we have Petty F. Kruger saying you're either the prey or the predator. And then
this is how that thing. Hold on a second. Hold up. Pause. Reverse. Okay. So remember, I told you that in the human species, there are prey, there are predators, right? Look at this one, admitting that in the human species, we are not just called people. We're not just kin of each other, right? We are just what? Prey or predator. But he's actually wrong. He's saying you as a person, right? But what he actually should have said was males, right? Males are the predators, right? The way he's saying this is like to say anybody can be the predator. He also knows that only males are predators. That only the males are the predators. Because in many places, right? There was a video that I have, which I would actually include in here, where it says that you are either the prey or the predator. Women are just the prey. Women are just the prey. Right? Women are just the prey. And that's why they even want you to look even more feminine, so that you can be even more identifiable as the prey. This is why Justin Bieber likes to has all these tattoos now, and he looks like he does now. But before he looked like prey. He looked like one of the prey. And you have to understand something. Okay? You have to understand something. The men, because they are not of our species, they are less able to identify, right? Which is male, which is female, right? There is how should I say this? There is a disability. It's not a complete disability, but it's far less than women are able to do it. Yeah, it's far less than women are able to do it. So they actually, this is what they mean by, they're visual creatures, right? They need you to basically signal them that you are the prey by the way you dress, by the dresses that you wear. Oh, goodness gracious. Y'all didn't know, women didn't know that they made us dress like that so that they can be easily, so that they can easily ID us. Because something is wrong, even though when you talk to them, you know, you don't seem to sense that they can't tell who is male and who's female, right? But then when I started thinking about it, I started realizing no one has actually ever tested that. I started realizing that no one has actually tested that. And I'm like, I think they actually do have this hang up that they can't tell completely who's male and who's female. Tells me, and when you look at what Justin Bieber is doing, right, which is, you know, how he changed his look. When he was young, he was really pretty, right? And I loved how he looked. I thought it was so gorgeous, right? And I thought, man, if this guy could grow up like this, wow, he would be the most handsome man in the world. And look at him now. He looks like a beast that is waiting to go to hell. He looks like a fucking beast that is on its way to hell. That's what he looks like. But now I think he gets preyed on less. I think he gets preyed on less. So let me just run through for you the evidence that I think that, you know, the evidence of women, clues, not evidence, but clues that these males can't actually all the way tell which is male, which is female, which is one, right? One, that they tell us that they're visual creatures, right? If you're visual creatures, right, that means that you need something overtly visual, right? And when you come to when you look at the facial features of males and females, it is subtle. It is subtle differences. Subtle differences. I have taken on this habit of reviewing faces, different faces, to determine how what is the thing, what is the significant thing that makes us able to identify which is male, which is female. And I'm going to tell you, I haven't been able to find it. I haven't been able to find it. There isn't like a particular thing. When you think, oh, it's a strong jaw, and you look at another woman, and she also has like some, you know, she also has the same turn of the same jaw, but she looks feminine, right? She looks female, right? So I haven't been able to find any particular feature that says this is what a female is, right? So the collective of the features are what are, what are making us be able to differentiate that. But each feature on their own, they are like very, very, very infinitesimally subtle, right? So I actually do think that it's possible that the males have that. Second, they want us to dress, they want us to be feminine, right? They want us to dress in a way that can easily identify us. They want us to easily to dress in a way that would have no doubt, that would leave no doubt that we are females. Do you understand that? They want us to dress in a way that
Then
would
Mona
leave
says
no
third option.
doubt that we are females. Who? Goodness gracious. Goodness gracious. I mean, the evidence just piles on and on and on and on.
Human being, my ancestors were literally hunted and eaten by people that saw them as untamed animals. So no, as a Black woman, I will never be a B-word ninja prey. And then Petty F. Kruger says, that was cute and aggressive. You're the predator. And then we got Beck Sheetal saying, I went on a date with this one guy. And when he walked me out to the car, he asked me if I wanted to get in his backseat to cuddle. Like, stop. Excuse me, sir. So this man right here is saying that date stands for dome at the end. Like you're going to get a BJ simply because you bought a woman some dinner. This person, LeGrand Mademoiselle, says, shut the F up. And then Petty Demon laughs at that. Steven says, or pay my bills. So you get taken out on a date. And then a person named Steven says, or pay my bills. We got another man saying, damn sure don't stand for flowers at the beginning. So they don't want to bring you flowers.
He said, pay my bills. But how many of them hunt you down so that you can pay their bills? How many of them? No, really, how many? Yeah. How many? How many really? Because when I tell you that I knew all of these things from studying the males themselves, because at first I studied the females, right? Because I thought because the women presented a problem that I was trying to fix. I was trying to fix it by proving that the males were actually good people. They presented a problem that I was trying to prove that the males were in fact good. And the reason I wanted to prove it is because they hadn't done anything to me for me to even see that any of these problems, right? I hadn't really dated all that much. They hadn't really done anything to me. And it was only just by pure research, right? Pure research. And that research included talking to them, themselves, going to their spaces, asking them question upon question upon question upon question upon question upon question, like an endless amount of questions. Reading their comments, observing how they, their turn of phrases, how they react to certain things. And it was consistent. It was consistent. It said the same thing every time. So when I tell you that all they want is sex, and if you look at my the videos that I've made about sex is not for babies, and in those videos that I said if sex was for babies, you would have sex one time and get pregnant one time. Yeah, I said that. Because the design of a system is to be effective every time it engages in that activity. That is the universal way of biology, right? Every time it engages in that activity, it gets something. It gets whatever it is supposed to get. Yeah? Which means that reproduction, if reproduction was through sex, sex will be designed in a way that you get pregnant every single time you have sex, that you would not need to engage in that thing. You would not have the instinct to engage in that thing unless you want a child. You would not have the instinct to engage in sex at all unless you want specifically to make a child. It means it would not be, should or miss. The reason you have to have sex for 3 months, 5 months, a year, etc., is because it is a trial and error. It is a shoot and miss. Biology does not do that. That is some BS fuckery. Biology does not do that. That is a waste of space as far as biology is concerned. But if you look at what sex actually is for, the men get what they want every time. They come every time. That is what sex is designed for. Yeah.
They don't want to pay for dates, but they expect sex. So remember, she said date does not stand for D at the end. Jay says, thanks for that. That's hilarious. It does now.
Is that they are not your reproductive partners. The way it is set up, they are not your reproductive partners. They are your predators, which is why they get what they come from, what they come for every time. And the reason you don't get a baby every time is because that's not how you were designed to get a baby. The way that you were designed to get a baby, again, if we look at how our periods run, we have the reason we have our uterine wall being built every time your egg drops is because exactly of what I said, which is every activity, every biological activity of any system. It will be designed to get the thing it wants every time, which means every time your egg drops, the way it was designed was that every time your egg drops, it is supposed to implant. Every time your egg drops, it is supposed to implant. That is why your uterine wall is built up every time and why you have a monthly period. That is why you have a monthly period. That is the proof of that system.
Now, and then this man says, understand me, and does the laugh reaction. So I just wanted to share with you a few of these comments from men to just see what they think of women. And we know that this is how they think, but they have absolutely no qualms about putting it in public. And so
that's exactly how they think. They think you're the prey. They think you know they only want sex, right? They don't think that you're human at all. They don't think that you're human. They think you're the prey. They think they're the predator. They think it's all men. They think, right? They only want sex. They don't want your babies. That is only the icing on the cake, because by having that baby, by having that baby thing, they can hobble you and tie you to them so that you can escape, so that you can't escape them, or at least so easily. That is what I wanted to get on here to say. That is what I wanted to get on here to say. This is just another video that says sex is for babies. Males are only predators. Don't believe anything else or you are fooling yourself. When you make a male, you make a predator. When you birth a son, you birth your own predator. When you marry one, you marry your predator. When you sleep with one, you sleep with a predator. That is the only thing they are. That is the only thing they can be. And the sooner we realize this, the sooner we can start to save ourselves before it is too late. Because we are not going to have this ability to live forever. Because we're not going to have this survival forever. Because the consequence of the universal consequence of not controlling your predator is that you are extincted. Period. That is the universal consequence of that. And we are not going to be exempt from it. That's it for now.